just the history of our Community Action Agency. So Community Action Agency was formed in 1964 under Lyndon B. Johnson's War on Poverty Act. He declared that we give every American the opportunity to develop a comprehensive plan to fight its own poverty and to help them carry out their plans. Our Community Action Agency was one of the very first community action agencies, and it was established by Theodore Berry, who later became Cincinnati's first African-American mayor. Now there are over 1,000 CAAs across the nation. And from the start, our mission has been to break down barriers to equity and opportunity and equip people with the tools to become self-sufficient. Our programs are designed to meet an urgent community need and pave the way towards stability and hope. I'll make a few references to the pandemic as a baseline to compare where we were before to where we are now, just in these few short years. Our programs are designed to meet urgent. In partnership, we have, so one of our first programs, So our first program that I wanted to introduce you to is our mobile food pantry. In partnership with the Free Store Food Bank, we operate a mobile food pantry at 5 different locations across Hamilton County. There are no income restrictions for these programs to receive food. In fact, we intentionally keep our food pantries open to anyone who needs them because we've seen so many new faces seeking help. Before the pandemic, we had this program, but now inflation has driven demand through the roof. Our pantry lines stretch around the block. People are in line for an hour before we open to ensure they'll get their groceries. We also have a diaper bank program to make sure parents don't have to choose between diapers and other necessities. Twice a month, we host a free diaper distribution. Like the pantry, this program requires no income requirements. Hundreds of families come in each time to receive diapers for infants and toddlers. This is critical support that eases the financial burdens on struggling parents. As prices for essentials rise, even a few dozen free diapers and fresh produce can make a difference. It frees up a bit of a family's tight budget to cover rent, utilities, or other bills. Our utility assistance program, our LIHEAP and PIP. No family should have to choose between heating their home or food on the table. Through the federally funded Low-Income Housing Energy Assistance Program, we help thousands of households keep their lights on and their heat running. One key offering is the percentage of income payment plan. That's our PIP plan. It lets eligible Ohioans pay an affordable fixed portion of their income for utilities and prevents large unpaid balances from piling up. Paying these bills on time each month under PIP earns credit towards an old utility debt. So after 24 on-time payments, any remaining balance can be forgiven. In Hamilton County, households up to 175% of the federal poverty level can qualify for these services. For example, a family of 4 making roughly $48,500 annually would qualify for this program. We also administer a summer and a rental crisis program to address extreme weather emergencies. In the winter, we provide one-time aid to prevent disconnects and to restore service for heat. In the summer, we help vulnerable households, especially seniors or those with medical conditions, to stay cool by assisting with their electric bills or providing fans and air conditioning units. Last year alone, in Ohio, we helped over 44,000 households stay safe in severe weather. These efforts have saved lives and give peace of mind that a shut-off notice won't be a tragedy. Safe, stable housing is the foundation of a secure life. That's why CAA works to prevent evictions and foreclosures for families. Through our emergency rental assistance and mortgage assistance programs, we have helped to keep countless neighbors in their homes during hard times. Demand for this help is extremely high. Far more people are struggling with their rent and their mortgage. That's why we have been partnering with legal aid to prioritize those with eviction notice or utility disconnect notices. Our goal is to prevent homelessness whenever possible by intervening early. In fact, Hamilton County has provided special funding to help assist homeowners with property tax relief. Many seniors on fixed incomes are seeing their property taxes spike as property values rise. Even though they paid for their homes, they're now in fear of losing them because of property taxes. Housing stability is key. When people stay housed, kids stay in school, and jobs are retained, and our community stays whole. Ultimately, though, the surest path out of poverty is a good paying job. Our Career Pathways program focuses on workforce development, training, and certifying residents for careers that are high-paying and livable wage jobs. For example, we offer commercial driver's license, CDL, training, medical billing and coding courses, phlebotomy training, and more. These programs target in-demand fields and come with support to help participants succeed. When community members graduate with new skills and certifications, they can move into jobs that increase their income, financial stability. We give a hands up, not just a handout, by empowering people with education and opportunity. Each of these programs meet people where they are, whether they're hungry, cold, unemployed, and they help them take a step forward. And all of this is possible because of a patchwork funding and partnerships underkeyed by one key support, the Federal Community Service Block Grant. It was the CSBG grant, the Community Service Block Grant, was established in 1981. It was built on a simple but a powerful idea that local communities are best suited to address local poverty challenges rather than a one-size-fits-all federal program. CSBG funds are given to states and funneled directly to local agencies like CAA, which are then held accountable through strict reporting to ensure that every taxpayer dollar is used effectively. Unlike narrowly defined grants, CSBG is wonderfully flexible. It allows us to braid together other funding sources and respond to whatever local needs are most pressing. In other words, our CSBG multiplies the impact of every program that we run. We use it to support everything from energy assistance to family stability, case management, to workforce development. It even helps us to leverage additional funds from the state, county, and city partners. In Hamilton County, for example, we use a combination of CSBG funds to extend our mortgage and rental assistance efforts. The federal grant is absolutely essential to what we do, but now our CAA and others like it across the country face an urgent threat: federal budget cuts that target CSBG and other related programs. Despite a long history of bipartisan support for the Community Action Agency, there are current proposals in Washington to dramatically reduce or even eliminate CSBG funding. In fact, a recent federal budget plan suggests completely eliminating CSBG, cutting all $770 million of it nationwide. Those who propose such cuts claim it's about saving taxpayer dollars, but let me tell you what this really means on the ground. It means pulling the rug out from under the most effective, locally driven anti-poverty programs in communities just like ours. If these cuts happen, the consequences will be devastating. Any significant reduction or pause in federal funding would have a catastrophic consequence for our neighbors in need. Services would be slashed or shut down. Jobs will be lost, and families will be left in the cold, literally. We've already gotten a small taste of what funding disruptions do. This past year, due to federal budget uncertainty and administrative holdups, we were afraid that funding for our energy assistance program, LIHEAP, would be delayed. Although we did get the funding, it was severely reduced. And because of tariffs, the cost of our fans and air conditioning units went up as well. When before we were able to assist almost any family who met the qualifications that came in, we are now restricted to who we can help. We were told that we could only assist seniors and households with documented medical conditions, and even then at lower benefit levels. The need didn't shrink, but the resources have. Imagine having to tell a young family with children or a working single mother, sorry, we can't help you keep your electric on or your heat during this heat wave because the funding has been cut. That is the position you never want to be in. But without robust federal support, it becomes a reality. Another example is our mortgage assistance funding. Our mortgage assistance funds are nearly exhausted. Going forward, CSBG and other related funds that allow us to continue a basic safety net for housing. If those funds dry up, more families will face eviction and foreclosure with nowhere to turn for help. And it's not just direct aid. CSBG also covers the outreach and case management that connects people to the right services. Cutting it means severing lifelines that link vulnerable residents with housing, food, and job opportunities. Community action is a wise investment with proven results. Our programs are transparent, local governed, and deliver real outcomes. We help people meet basic needs now while working towards long-term self-sufficiency. We're accountable for every dollar and collaborate with private partners to stretch those dollars further. We're not a partisan cause. Poverty does not care whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, and neither do we. Do you need the fires? Okay, sorry about that. Poverty does not care whether you're Democrat or Republican, and neither do we. Our agency has supported leaders from both parties over the decades because what we do helps everyone in the community. Keeping the heat on for a senior or helping a senior mom avoid eviction benefits the neighborhood and reduces the strain on other systems. It's about basic human dignity and smart economics. If Washington cuts the community service block grant, it would turn its back on those striving to overcome hardship. We refuse to believe that anyone truly wants to see food pantry lines grow longer or shelters overflow in the richest country on earth. But that is what happens when funding for anti-poverty programs gets slashed. As one community action agency leader recently wrote, losing CSBG would mean turning our backs on those striving every day to overcome hardship and create a better life. I firmly echo that sentiment. Now more than ever, amid economic uncertainty, we need our federal partners to stay the course and reinforce support for community-based solutions, not pull away from it. So why is it urgent that we sustain or even increase this investment? Because that's what it is, an investment. It is because the needs of our community have risen sharply in the recent years. We are all feeling the squeeze of higher costs here in Hamilton County, as in the rest of the nation. Prices for everyday essentials have climbed well above the pre-pandemic norm. Inflation in the Cincinnati area has been hovering around 3% in 2024 and 2025, which may seem moderate, but compared to the peak of the pandemic, it is still significantly higher than the roughly 1 to 2% annual inflation we were accustomed to prior to the pandemic. What do those numbers actually mean to families? It means that basic necessities, rent, groceries, utility, gas, are eating up a bigger share of household budgets. Wages for many people have not been keeping up the pace with the rising costs of food and housing. A gallon of milk, a carton of eggs, and a tank of oil cost more today than they did just a few years ago. By some measures, the cost of living in our region alone is 20% higher than it was before the pandemic, an enormous jump in such a short period of time. Families who are just getting by in 2019 might find in 2025 that they are falling behind, despite doing everything right. That's exactly what we have witnessed on the front lines of the Community Action Agency. Our mobile pantry lines are growing around the block due to inflation, are one visible sign. We hear it in the voices of our parents at the diaper bank who tell us that free diapers and produce are a godsend because it frees up $50 in their budget just to put gas in their car or go towards an overdue bill. We see it in the surge of first-time clients, proud working people who never imagined needing public assistance until the skyrocketing rent or lost income forced them to seek help. The face of those seeking help has expanded to include many middle-class families, gig economy workers, and others who were doing okay before but are now barely staying afloat. High inflation acts like a tax on working families, and agencies like ours feel the impact in our lobbies and in our phone lines. This rising demand for CAA services is a direct reflection of the economic pressures households are under. In short, communities' needs have grown, not shrunk. And that's why cutting federal support would be so harmful. It will come at the exact moment when people are turning to the community programs to get through the rough times. We should be shoring up the safety net and not thinning it out. Numbers and programs alone don't tell the full story of why CAA and programs like the Earth matter. The real impact is best told through the lives of our neighbors. And I want to share with you a story of someone who came to CAA from help. Her name is Christy, and we kind of changed her name to keep her private, but she's a mother of two from Hamilton County, and she's the type of person who prides herself in working hard and independence. For years, she stood on her own 2 feet and made ends meet without relying on any social services. Christy lost her job at a local company due to cutbacks. She was out of work for several months, and to make matters worse, she lacked reliable transportation. So when jobs did start to come back, she had trouble accessing opportunities beyond the bus line. Despite her best efforts, Christy fell behind on her rent, and the bills piled up. She faced the terrifying prospect of being evicted with her children. For the first time in her life, Christy swallowed her pride and reached out for help. She came to the Community Action Agency to ask about emergency rental assistance. She wasn't sure what to expect. She even felt a bit ashamed walking in, not knowing if she would be judged. But our staff welcomed her with compassion and told her she wasn't alone. Christy worked with one of our case managers to apply for the assistance that she needed. Because of that assistance, she was able to catch up on her rent and keep a roof over her head. We also connected her to resources, a job referral, and transportation assistance to tackle the root cause of her situation. The financial help saw her through the immediate crisis, but something happened that Christy didn't expect. She later reflected, CAA was there when I needed help and I did not know what I was going to do. I got the feeling that everything was going to be all right, she said. It helped me out in more ways than one. That was the beautiful blessing. A blessing for a lot of families when there's so much going on in their lives. What Christy found was not just a check to pay her landlord. She found renewed hope and confidence. She realized that asking for help in a hard time was not a failure, and that her community truly does care. With the crisis behind her, Christy soon found a new job. Her kids were able to stay in school because they didn't have to move. And today she's back on her feet. And she often tells people that if she didn't get the helping hand from CAA, she doesn't know where she would be now. Christy's story is just one of thousands. We could talk about the senior in Price Hill who we helped with the furnace repair so she wouldn't freeze in the winter, or the father in Avondale who went through our CDL program, got a truck driving job, and he can now support his family, or the mother who escaped violence and came to Cincinnati with nothing, and through Head Start for her children and rental assistance for herself is now building a new life. Time and time again, I have seen how small interventions at the right moment can alter the entire trajectory of a person's life. These aren't just feel-good stories. These are stories that are real, and they really help to stable families, and this is the work and the power that our work can do. The Community Action Agency has been helping people and changing lives in Hamilton County now for 6 decades. We were there in the 1960s when the poverty in our city demanded bold new approaches. We were there through the recessions, helping workers get back on their feet. And we were there during the COVID-19 pandemic, delivering relief when our community was rocked by illness and job loss. And we're here now, facing today's challenges of inflation and inequality. We have always been there, but we've never done it alone. We've always been in partnership with people like you, our community members, the local, state collaborators, and critically important with our federal government providing the cornerstone funding that makes this work possible. The urgency is real. Proposed federal budget cuts threaten to stall our momentum and harm real people. We cannot let funding debates in Washington ignore the human impacts here on the ground. When you hear about cuts to budgets, remember that it translates to fewer families getting food, fewer seniors getting heat, fewer parents working because they lost child care or housing. Now is the time to double down on what's proven to work, community-driven solutions to poverty. Supporting Community Action Agency is not charity. It's an investment in our collective well-being. Every dollar that keeps a family housed or helps someone learn a new skill comes back to me many times over, in a healthier, safer, and more prosperous Hamilton County. As a Community Action Agency employee once said, our programs stabilize families, they sustain local jobs, and they strengthen the economy infrastructure of entire communities. That's the truth. When we thrive, communities thrive. Thank you.
Vicki, a question. You mentioned diaper bank twice. Isn't it because there's a